Namaste, I'm J. Mehta. I'm a college professor at East Tennessee State University. I am also a physician, pulmonary physician. But I'm here today as somebody who is interested in philosophy, particularly theology. I've been studying comparative religion for quite some time. And I like poetry also. So physician, professor, poetry, philosophy, all this thing together. But I'm a student rather than an expert. What I like to do today is discuss Hindu theology. And if you remember, I started with saying Namaste. And if you understand what Namaste stands for, half of my job is done. Namaste is a Sanskrit word. People in India greet each other with this phrase, Namaste. But namas means I respect or recognize or salute, and te really means thou or the God Supreme. So when one person says Namaste to another person, he or she is saying, I recognize and respect the God within you. So right there is the most important part of Hindu thinking, that there is a God within us. Our soul is divine, is part of the universal consciousness or divine eternal reality. So that's the beginning. The second most important point I want to make is, if you look at the slide, the next slide, the Western world or philosophers like to divide theology into various categories. Some will call themselves theists, those who believe in God. Atheist means denies existence of God. Some will call themselves Nastika, means denies the presence of God. Monotheism, only one God. Now some are exclusive monotheism. For example, Christianity and Islam are saying my God is the right God, but Hindu tradition has been inclusive monotheism. Your God and my God are same God. So there is a monotheism, but then it is inclusive monotheism. Then there is a polytheism. In principle, Hindu theology is perhaps monotheistic, but in practice it is polymorphic monotheism. Means in practice it sounds more like a multiple gods, and I'll come to the detail of that. And then there is a pantheism, means the whole universe is God. If you look at Ishavasya Upanishad, it says Ishavasya idam sarva yat kinchin jagatyam jagat, means everything you see in the world, moving or not moving, is permeated by the Brahman, the supreme reality of the universe. So it also includes pantheism. And then I'll talk about dualism, means separation of the creator and the creation, the so-called Dvaita, and Adi Shankaracharya proposed Advaita, means not separate. Advaita doesn't mean not one or not two. Advaita means the creator and the creation are together. It's like there is a builder, but the builder is also part of the house, or the material for the building came from the builder. So that's a non-dualism or Advaita. But the interesting part is, most of the established religions, Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Jainism, Hinduism, Buddhism, may think that they only believe in one of the two, but in Hindu tradition, the monotheism, polytheism, pantheism is all inclusive. They are all part of, they are not contradicting each other, or they are not excluding each other, and that's what sometimes causes confusion. I do not like this idea that Hindu theology is difficult. It is not difficult, but because you see these fixed ideas that monotheism means you cannot have polytheism, or pantheism and polytheism cannot stay together or exist together, that idea is what is causing the confusion. So let me give an interesting story. There was a Berkeley professor who wanted to do PhD in Zen Buddhism, and he went to Tokyo to stay some time with the Zen master. And after a long trip, when the student arrived, Zen master said, take it easy, take a rest, and we'll talk about tomorrow. And next day he said, go around the garden and I'll teach you some Zen Buddhism. But the student was so eager with a pad or computer to write down the notes that he got frustrated that Zen master didn't start teaching him right away. So finally the Zen master said, come tonight in my house at 6 p.m. we'll have a tea ceremony. And Zen master is slowly preparing the tea, the student is restless, and finally the Zen master starts pouring tea in the cup and the saucer. As he pouring the tea overflows the cup, and it falls on the floor, and the student said, oh, stop it, Zen master, you are pouring so much that there is no more room in the cup. And the Zen master smiled and said, that's what I've been trying to tell you for the last 3 days. If your cup is full, I cannot pour more information in it. If you want to understand Zen Buddhism or Hindu theology, you got to empty your cup. Your preconceived idea of right and wrong has to be kind of emptied temporarily, or you should be allowed to let your prejudices go if you want to get the new information in your brain. So that's the first thing I want to say when you talk about Hindu theology. Now, most Hindus will proudly say that they are monotheistic because they want to look as respected as the Christianity and Islam. And it is true. In principle, Hindu theology is monotheistic. And how do I say that? The most ancient Hindu scripture, namely Rig Veda, starts by saying, Ekam samdvipra bahuda vadante. That means there is only one God or one reality, one truth, but the scholars refer to this by different names. So I'm reminded of a story of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, a great mystic of 18th century India, and he was the guru of Swami Vivekananda. And he once said, if you are thirsty, you want water, but if you are in an English speaking country, you call this water, but if you are in Germany, you call it aqua, and if you are in India, you will call it pani. The liquid is same. But if you say in a small village in India, I want water, you will go thirsty for days before somebody will give you water. If you say, mujhe pani do, then somebody will give you water because they understand water by the terminology or phrase or word pani. But the material is same. Same thing is happening to our idea of God. In Hindu theology, they are saying there is only one God, but some call it Krishna, some call it Rama, some call it Shiva, and in a way, for them, Jesus Christ is also Krishna. They do not separate this as a two different divine entity, and that's what sometimes confuses the Westerners, or particularly the children born in USA in the Indian family, because there is an apparent contradiction, but there is no contradiction. At the root, theology of ancient India repeatedly says that there is only one supreme reality called Brahman, Brahman. Now, do not confuse Brahman with Brahma, because when this Nirakar Niranjan, formless entity, becomes manifested God, it divides itself into two parts, the Prakriti and Purusha. Purusha is the male energy and Prakriti is nature. And then it becomes Brahma, which is the creator God. Now here the spelling is Brahma, the creator God, different from Brahman. And then Vishnu, the God that sustains the universe, and Shiva is the God that causes dissolution for recreation. And for Hindus, this is a cycle of creation and dissolution. Now, when the formless entity becomes a particular form, then we give attributes. These are human nature that gives the attribute. For example, some will call it formless and eternal omnipresent. more like a Brahman. And then if you take God as a father figure, then he is more like a disciplinary, he will punish you. But Hindus like God both as a mother and sometimes God as a father, one who is strict and disciplines, helps you in sadhana or repeated meditation concentration. But then you want mercy and kindness and love, then Durga or mother goddess would be more appropriate. And therefore, we sometimes have kindness attributed to God, but God is a infinite source of love in Hindu theology also. God is everywhere. God is now some Hindu scriptures later on, like Puranas, talk about miracles. In ancient Vedic culture, there are not that many miracles. The stories of miracles come later in the Hindu theology. Now, this is to give you some interesting information. This goddess of Willendorf discovered a long time ago, but this statue of divinity as a mother is thought to be 19,000 BCE, so quite old. The point is, humankind has been worshipping God as a mother long time ago, and it still exists. In Catholic faith, Mother Mary is worshipped, and Hindus would have Durga as a worship. I am going to skip this slide, but this slide does create a big question. If God is so kind and if God is omnipresent, omnipotent, why people suffer? But that is a topic for a different time. Hindus will say it is part of karma, but Hindu also says this would be a time and opportunity to help the poor people in need. This is another example to show that from time to time, when polytheism divides the community or the society, the leaders try to bring the society towards monotheism. Here is the Egyptian god, Egyptian leader who is trying to create monotheism by offering the lotus to sun god and trying to tell his people that let's just get together and just have one god so that we will not be divided into many. And I give you an interesting story. When we were building a temple in Johnson City or Tri-City area, some of us were from North India, some were South India, some were Krishna worshipper, some were Shiva worshippers. Well, in our temple we put the statues of 3 or 4 deities, so we can keep our community together. It helps you collect the funds, it helps you keep people together, it prevents the fragmentation. So that is another practice in support of promoting monotheism. Now, the important point to remember is monotheism and polytheism coexist in Hindu faith. In practice, there is a polytheism. A typical Hindu prayer or ritual session or puja will start with something like this: Om Shri Ganeshaya Namaha, Uma Maheshwarabhyam Namaha, Lakshmi Naranabhyam Namaha, Om Gurubhyo Namaha, Sarvebhyo Brahmanebhyo Namaha, Om Paramatmane Namaha. What this is doing is all existing God ideas in the audience or around this town is being respected. So for Hindus, different gods is not just tolerance, it is acceptance with love and respect, and that is the unique part of Hindu theology. So in the beginning, even if I am doing a Vishnu puja, Satyanarayana puja, I start with inviting the Ganesha, who is considered the god that removes all the obstacles. So you invite other gods, and they are actually the different forms and name of the supreme god. But the formless Brahman, the supreme reality of the universal consciousness, is hard to worship unless you bring them down to the human level, to the manifested form or a shape or certain attributes, which makes it easier for human being to concentrate in meditation or during worship. So, this is a simplification for convenience, and it also allows the custom tailoring depending upon somebody's nature. So, if you like the God to be playful and very friendly, then I would go with Krishna, who plays the flute, he is charming, he offers love, then Krishna brings more joy to the devotees of Krishna. Now, if you like meditation, knowledge and contemplation, Lord Shiva is a perfect God for you. If you are in crisis and if you want a lot of mercy and grace, Mother Durga or Goddess Durga would be ideal for you. So, depending upon the devotee's state of mind or sattva guna or rajas guna or character, he or she could select a particular attributes of that particular God for that particular day or time, knowingly that this is not a different God, this is a certain selected element of the one supreme reality. So, it is like this: if you are sitting in a house with lot of windows, and if you cannot see the whole sky while in the house, you will go through one window, you see some portion of the outside view, trees and some part of the sky, then you go to another window and be able to see the remaining part of the sky and window. So, it is true that when you only see through one window, you have a limited vision, but it is in beginning, you are able to see the sky and the trees and the greenery from that window. But the ultimate goal is through that window you want to see the whole entire sky or the universal reality. Now, I want to tell you a story that comes from Upanishad. Yagnavalkya, there is a famous story where King Janaka invited sages for debate, and he said, I will give you 1,000 cows each decorated with gold to the wisest man, and Yagnavalkya said, I claim the prize. But Gargi said, hold it, answer my question, how many gods are there? And first he said 330,000. And Gargi said, but say it again, let me ask you again, how many gods are there? And he said 6. Then he said 1.5. He kept on going there. Finally he said, Gargi said, Yagnavalkya, for the last time, how many gods are there? And the great sage Yagnavalkya said, 1, only 1. And that is the essence of the story. Initially he recognized the prevalent belief that people, depending upon their tendencies, take different forms of God, and therefore he said 330 million, and then he finally came to 3, the creator God Brahma, the God that sustains the universe Vishnu, and then God of inhalation, God of destruction or recreation, God Shiva, the one who dances and recreates every 330 million years the new life on the planet. So, it is an interesting story, but the point is Upanishads like Bhagavad Gita repeatedly emphasizes one God. Srimad Bhagavata will do the same thing, Akashat patitam toyam yatha gacchati sagaram sarvadeva namaskara keshavam patigacchati. Similar thing is repeated in Shiv Mahimna Stotra, Trayi Sankyam Yogam Pashupati Matam Vaishnavamati Ruchinam Vaichitram Rujukutilnana Patajasham. It says the water from the rivers, there are many rivers, ultimately go to ocean. So, yes, the drop of the water or the river looks different in the beginning, but once you take water from the ocean, the water does not remember whether it came from Ganges river or Nile river or Jamuna river. So, all the devotional methods of different deities and different gods ultimately go to one God supreme, the Brahman. And that is one of the sages said differently. They said, when the thousands of bees collect the nectar from millions of flowers and the honey is accumulated in the honey pot, the drop of the honey does not know which flower it came from. So, in a way it is a journey from polytheism or multiple God ideas to one universal reality, the Sat Chit Anand, Satchidanand, the eternal reality, supreme consciousness, and everlasting joy. And that's the theology most Hindus would support. Now, going further, essential part of Hindu theology, which is formless Brahman, is hard to worship, but that is the ultimate reality. Ishvara, which is referred to as the master or the Lord, has power over the material world, but it is a manifested God. So, it has some attributes, form or shape. And another important part of Hinduism is they do not put down other people's religion. It is not just acceptance, it is respecting other theology. There is no forceful conversion in Hinduism, and if there is a monotheism, it is an inclusive monotheism, not exclusive. Hindus will never say my God is the only God and your God is wrong. That is not consistent with Hindu theology. But the important part is God is within and your soul is divine. Now, in the Vedic period, now this is another interesting point. Hindu theology goes through some evolution. For example, in the Vedic time, about 2500 BC, the god they were worshipped were Indra, who was a god of thunder and the lightning. He is the lord of heaven. But then there is a god of fire, god of water, very much like a Greek philosophy. In fact, maybe Greeks were influenced by Aryan or Hindu theology. But there is a beautiful story in Vedas where Indra became so arrogant that he said, I am the all powerful, even I am the king of god of fire and god of wind and god of Varuna and Agni and god of water. So, one day in the morning, the goddess of dawn, Usha, came and brought a small straw and said, O mighty Indra, some supreme being has sent this straw to see if you can destroy it. And in his arrogance, Indra tried to destroy it, but could not. He ordered Agni Dev to come and throw some fire, and the straw was not burnt. He asked god of water to put a lot of water on it, but the straw did not become wet. He ordered the wind god to blow it off, but the straw will not move. Finally, Indra said to the Usha, what is this? Who is this? Who sent this? And the maid Usha, the goddess of the early morning, young lady said, Indra, it is he who gives you the power to become the Lord of the heaven. It is that power that sent this straw. Know that all the strength and power that you have is the grace of the supreme Brahman. It's a beautiful story. So, even Rigveda tries to time take the polytheism to monotheism. In Vedic philosophy, it is important to know that suffering must end and salvation is a state of highest bliss. And every Hindu, no matter which god or who god you worship, is granted full salvation and freedom from sin. And Hindus also will say, yes, if a Christian worships Jesus Christ, he will find freedom from sin and get salvation. And so would Krishna. Krishna actually says in Bhagavad Gita, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam braja. If you surrender to me, offer me your love and devotion, I will free you from all the sins. I guarantee you full salvation. But in Hindu philosophy, the 6 philosophical schools are being accepted, and they are the Nyaya of Gautama and Vaisheshika of Khanda, Purva Mimamsa, Uttar Mimamsa. But remember that in Sankhya and Purva Mimamsa, they do not have to believe in Creator God. They are in a way non-theistic. So, interesting part of Hindu theology is you don't have to believe in God to be a Hindu. If you believe that the God realization within you, then knowledge and good conduct and tranquility within you is enough to get the salvation. Now, this is a beautiful paragraph from Rigveda, and I like the honesty of that particular paragraph. It says, neither existence nor non-existence was as yet, neither the world nor the sky that lies beyond it. Look at the beautiful poetry. Non-existent didn't exist, nor existent existed. And it goes on to poetically describe the Brahman creating the light first, the first Big Bang theory of Om, the first sound. But at the end it says, who knows who created the gods? Maybe they even don't know. This honesty that we do not know enough about God is the highlight of Vedic philosophy. That they say we try to describe the God, but it is neti, neti, not this, not this. After you have done all the description, what you have not described is perhaps the God. So, we may or may not know everything about the God. This degree of honesty is good for beginning the journey towards the spiritual enlightenment or spiritual freedom. And that is the story I already told you about the Yagnavalka, how many gods are there. This comes from Brihadaranya Upanishad, and ultimately Yagnavalka says there is only one God. Now, Adi Shankaracharya believed in Advaita, which Brahma alone is real and universe is not real because our senses are somewhat diluted or Maya. This is called temporary illusion or false knowledge. Similar to the Garden of Eve, there was a tree of false knowledge, and that's what separated Adam and Eve from the God. So Hindus call it a false knowledge or Maya, illusion. This chair looks like a chair because your eyes see it in certain way, but the actual chair may be different. And what Shankara is saying is the samsara or the material world is not false, but it may not be exactly as you are seeing it. It's like a young boy falling in love. The girl is beautiful and gorgeous and is crazy, but a few years later, if the love is not a true love, it will disappear. So there is a illusion in the beginning unless you understand the love in full depth. This illusion is created because the mind, like a prison, can take one light and divide it into 7 different colors. So when the sunlight is going through a prison, you see the different colors like red and yellow and orange. You think these are different lights. No, there is one light being projected in different way. So Adi Shankara is not denying the reality of the householder's life, but he is saying world may not be as you see it. The true ultimate reality is the Brahman or God only. He also said that the universe and its creation are same. They are not different. They look different because of the Maya or the illusion. Now another interesting part of Hinduism is some Hindus believe in Vaishnava or Vishnu as the supreme God, Krishna as the supreme God, a very joyful, beautiful God. And some would believe Shiva as the ultimate God. But Ishtadevata means your chosen deity. This is your chosen deity. He is the one who will take you to the ultimate salvation. But the interesting thing about Hindu theology is a person may be Vaishnavite in the morning. I grew up in a town where we had a huge Dakor, they had a huge Dwarkadish temple. Even though I am born in a Shaivite family, in the morning we will go to Vishnu temple, and in the evening we will go to Shiva temple. So it's like can you believe a Christian being a Catholic going to Protestant church, or a Protestant being a Methodist going to one Sunday Methodist church and next Sunday going to Baptist church and third Sunday going to Presbyterian church? No. But in Hinduism, on the birthday of Krishna, I will be worshipping Krishna. When the Rama's celebration comes, I will be worshipping Rama. So these denominations are not exclusive. You could be worshipping Vaishnava one day, but it's okay to go to Shiva temple that evening if you want to. This is from Mohenjo-daro, the ancient Hindu civilization, that there is a artifact about 3,000 years old of a mother goddess. This is a symbolic picture. I mean, a lot of illiterate people throughout the world, particularly in India, and they understand things better by a picture or a drawing. And here is Mother Goddess Durga very mad at the demon, and this demon is really not an outside demon. Our anger, our lust, our greed is a demon inside, and Mother Goddess through a lot of power, so she shows her 16 hands, and she is able to destroy them, to protect the kindness, to protect the innocent, to protect the spiritual love part. This Durga or goddess destroys the demon outside, but in a way it's a demon inside. The real enemy is our own lust, anger and greed. Now this is another interesting concept. An artist has drawn what is called a Ardhanarishwar. God is depicted both as a father and mother. Here Shiva is depicted both as male form and the female form. The Prakriti and Purusha all combined together ultimately cause the creation. So God is both father and mother, but the God has the love and kindness of a female aspect and the strong energy of creation and discipline and law and order and theory of karma in the male form. So it's a combination of the two rather than two separate entity. Now goddess Lakshmi is a beautiful goddess. When you need money, she brings prosperity and wealth. So Hindus, when need for prosperity and money, will worship goddess Lakshmi. But the goddess Lakshmi is part of goddess Vishnu or Narayan. So she is not totally a separate deity, but for particular function they will evoke that particular deity. And I think that is an interesting part. I'm going to skip some of this picture, but this is a beautiful Radha Krishnan, a symbol of love and kindness, where Radha represents the joy of devotion, and Krishna is the supreme consciousness who spreads love and spiritual awakening through the playing of his flute. God with many assistants. Now this may be from the British area, where if you have a small problem you go to the district collector, and if a big problem you go to the governor. So they might have a hierarchy of guards, and that may be learning from the government hierarchy perhaps. But some group of Hindus also believe that a wise guru can be worshipped as God. I personally think that if Guru was worshipping his God, why not we just worship the God he was worshipping? For example, Sahajanand Swami was worshipping Sri Krishna. Now for Swaminarayan Sampradaya, Sahajanand Swami is God, Swaminarayan. But some would say, why not you worship the God that Sahajanand Swami was worshipping, that is Lord Krishna. For example, Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was worshipping Mother Kali or Durga. So instead of worshipping Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, worship goddess Durga, that was his Ishta Devata. But if you feel more comfortable worshipping the God or in the form of your guru or human being, so be it. That's the freedom, that's the beauty of Hindu Dharma, that if you rather have a great saint being worshipped as God, and if through him if you can find salvation or spirituality, so be it. You have freedom to do it. You just be careful who you select as your deity, because human beings are frequently not perfect. I'm going to skip this, but I want to end with I have to skip a few slides for the sake of time, but this is a symbol of Mother Mary, and there is a blue covering which actually represents the sky, and so is our Narayan. Lord Vishnu's appearance is blue body. So it really represents the whole sky, because Vishnu means Vyapte Sarvatra iti Vishnu, one who is everywhere is a Vishnu. So if you want to explain omnipresent God, nice drawing or picture can do the job. In Hinduism, worshipping God through these human services is also been well recognized. It is not a new idea, but thanks to British India, many Hindu sages are now going back to the basics of serving poor human being, because serving pure human being is also serving the Lord or God Almighty. Now I'm about to stop here with just one story, and I'm going to talk about the God within. And quickly, let me go to the end of the slide. This is to show the multiple gods of the Vedic time, the Vasus and Indras and Rudras, and then in Upanishad period there was one god. But Brahmanica period, some ancestors were being worshipped, the great gurus were being worshipped, then Vaishnavites and Shaivites. But the real issue is over here. Current thinking is, why do we have so many temples? Why not we just have puja at home? And interesting thing is, Hindus can worship at home. They don't need to go to temples to offer their worship. And Ganesha is considered a most popular god, is a god of the beginning. He removes the obstacles. It's a playful god who grants you the safety when you take a major project. But the statement of Ramakrishna is very good. Giving knowledge of God through a book reading is like seeing Banaras on a map. Hindus do not stick to one particular scripture as a final authority. It is what you feel in your heart is what really is important. But this is the summary I want to share with you. Who sees his Lord within every creature, deathlessly dwelling amidst the mortal, that man sees truly. Who sees the separate lives of all creatures, united in Brahman, brought forth from the Brahman, himself finds Brahman. If you see God everywhere, and if you learn to see God within you, then you have tranquility, peace, and joy. There will be no violence because you see other person also as part of the divine. We all are children of one God, and that's the main message. This is the Brahman and its classification, creation. Goddess Lakshmi is prosperity, Goddess Durga is strength, Saraswati is god of knowledge. And you know, Tulsidas, a great poet and recital of Ramayana, Tulsikrut Ramcharitmanas, has Sri Rama, who is an incarnation of Lord Vishnu, worshipping Shiva. So he's trying to bring Shaivite and Vaishnavite together. There are multiple incarnations of Lord Vishnu, but if you look at the turtle form and the fish form, it may be just a story about the evolution of the god, or the God idea, so to speak. Now, if you look at the murti or the images they use, each one has a symbol. For example, when the image says hand like this, it means fear not. If the mudra is like this, there is an attempt to give knowledge. It's a bodh mudra. So each hand position has certain symbolism. And there are various methods of worshipping like Shravanam, Kirtanam, Bhakti, Jnanam, Dhyanam, Puja. So these are the various methods of worshipping the gods. And one of the old questions is, why image? Image helps you concentrate. But Hindus are able to destroy the image. In Ganesh Chaturthi, they made the form, then ceremoniously take the form and dissolve in the water. So yes, image is a temporary method of concentrating, but ultimately one has to go beyond the images during the worship or after the worship. I like this particular image of God, very good. God as a child, the life begins when there is a total flood. God is sucking his own thumb or toe, self-sustaining divine energy, totally free from fear, and spreading the joy with a confidence that in spite of the flood, in spite of the destruction, the life and the spirituality will continue to exist. But here is the summary. We are both the drop and the ocean. We are all of the same substance. To sermon from the East, this is not esoteric or new age, but something that can be experienced and understood in this lifetime. For them, the God within is a reality. The drop in the ocean is same as the ocean in a qualitative manner. I want to end with a beautiful story. You know, there was a lion cub that got lost and was raised by a shepherd with sheep and goats. So for a while, lion thought that he was a sheep or a goat. He was learning to do bam, 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 bam. And one day, the real lion and lioness attacked the herd of the sheep and goats, and the cub tried to run away. And the lion grabbed the cub and said, "Hey, where are you going?" He said, "No, no, no, I'm a sheep. Don't kill me, don't kill me." And the lion took him to the nearby lake and showed him the reflection. He said, "Look, you and I are alike." And that's when the lion cub realized that he is a lion. We may be imperfect, but within our heart there is a divine entity, the God, the soul, the Atma and Paramatma are part of each other. And that's the essential part of Hindu theology. So basically, Hindu theology is monotheistic in principle, polytheistic in practice, but it is a coexistence of monotheism and polytheism. In fact, I don't like this Western definition, but basically Hindu theory is God is wholesome everywhere and in our heart too. So love and kindness is the essence of Dharma. Thank you and Namaste.